Moms for Liberty really worked miracles.
We have a crisis in America in public education. This is the future of our kids and our country.
You are joyful warriors.
And we are just getting started.
That's great. I know. I think we're live.
Welcome to the Fire of Liberty show. I'm Tina Deskovich, your host, CEO and co-founder of Moms for Liberty. Today, you can tell we're in a different studio. We are live, remote from Capitol Hill, Washington, D.C. We just left a press conference. I'm here with Kit Hart. She's the chapter chair from Carroll County, Maryland. Worked out well. She was supposed to come to Florida. And at the last minute, I said, cancel your flight. I'm going to come to you and we're going to do it in a studio up there. So welcome, Kit, to the Fire of Liberty.
Thank you so much. This is so exciting. Great to be here.
Yeah, Kit is a mom of 5, and we're going to dig in a little bit later. But just so you know, she is the OG, the original joyful warrior. At Moms for Liberty, if you don't know, we call ourselves joyful warriors because we fight like heck, but with a smile on our face because our kids are watching. And in 2022, when we had our first national summit, we gave out a series of awards, and one of them was the Joyful Warrior Award. It was the ultimate award for one of our chapter chairs that takes a lot of fire and shows a lot of grace. And Kit, you are the original Joyful Warrior.
Oh,
so.
It's such an honor. I mean, I still don't believe it, but very much appreciated. It was truly one of the biggest honors of my life. So.
That's spectacular. We'll talk about that a little bit later in the interview. Because at first I want to talk about, because, we are just literally, we just hoofed it from the front of the Capitol. One of our guys over here said, "Oh, ladies, just come, no Uber, you could just walk." And we were looking at our heels, but we toughed it out and we got here okay. If there's a wide shot here, you'll see up on the wall, we decorated this remote studio for us with a little Moms for Liberty stuff from today from the press conference. Put children first. We are very grateful to Congressman Mark Harris out of North Carolina. Mm-hmm. He sponsored a bill this morning. I believe he filed it, and we were at the press conference to announce it, to revoke the federal charter for the National Education Association.
Amazing. Yeah. So grateful to him. And he had a list of co-sponsors, just really brave, courageous men and women that stepped up to do this amazing thing. So
yeah, let's talk for a second about what this means, because for those that don't know, the National Education Association is the largest teachers union in the country. Mm-hmm. 3 million members, right?
Wow.
3 million members, I believe. I should have notes in front of me. Now that I have a table, I think we might have to get a table at the Fire of Liberty studio. So 3 million members, largest teachers union in the United States. Their budget is unbelievable. Yes. They were talking about it today at the press conference. I think Corey DeAngelis was mentioning the amount of funds that they spend and the amount that actually go to teachers.
Wow.
Remember, it was it was like single digit percentage. So let's just talk about teachers unions in general at all levels, right? There's all kinds of teachers
county
unions.
Teachers unions, state and the federal. So I mean, I think we can all recognize, and here at Moms for Liberty, we all have teachers that we love, that we know have really changed our children for the better, have taught our kids so many different things. And we're so grateful to so many different teachers. But then there are definitely those bad apples who usually come from the teachers unions and have been indoctrinated by this radical leftist ideology and believe that their primary concern of being a teacher is to, indoctrinate their students into their same ideology. So that, I think, is the biggest problem that we have with teachers unions.
Corey mentioned that in his speech today. He was talking about the National Teacher of the Year through the NEA. And I guess she said in her speech that this is a political job. Right. And there just couldn't have been a more true statement for teachers like her.
Yes.
They have turned it into a political job. I can remember my civics teacher in middle school and my world history teacher and my American history teacher. And I never knew what political party.
Right.
I had no idea what their ideologies were. And thank goodness. Yeah. And that's how it should be.
And we didn't know about their personal lives either. And that, I think, is something that we need to get back to. Teachers are there to teach. They're not there to be friends with the students in their classrooms.
Yeah. So teachers unions, you have one in your county?
We do. Yes, we do.
Is that a trick question?
No, I mean, we're cordial,
Cordial. That's a step above
a
step above some of our
we're joyful
chapters.
warriors with our teachers union. So they know who we are and we know who they are, and we just sit on opposite sides of the school board room and
I think that's probably a lot you can, not the most you can ask for. We actually have a couple chapters that work with their teachers unions on very specific projects or initiatives. And I think that's perfectly fine. Yeah. But in most places, hands down, that's not a friendly relationship for one reason or another. So you have a pretty cordial relationship with yours.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mine and my county, I served on the school board. It was, interestingly enough, I interviewed with them when I ran for school board in 2016, and they didn't endorse in my race because my opponent was a teacher who was a member of the union, and her husband was a teacher and was a member of the union. It's my opinion that they preferred me in that first race, but they couldn't endorse me over two members of the union. And so they endorsed no one. And they just gave like a vote of confidence, I think, for both of us. And so I feel like I had a really good relationship going into serving on the school board with our teachers union, but it only took, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks from being on the school board before they turned on me really quick.
Oh, wow.
And they were a challenge for 4 years. And I saw a lot of shady tricks, a lot of dishonesty, a lot of gamemanship, manipulation, grandstanding, lying, and I lost a lot of respect then for local level teachers union. But then we start Moms for Liberty and looking at the National Education Association, some of the things that they've supported.
I can't believe it. I mean, it's completely political. They don't, they don't support anything that would, that even has anything to do with education. I mean, it's like they vote to defund the police, and they vote to support Black Lives Matter, all these very activist moves. So it doesn't make any sense. So why do they still have a charter by the federal department or
Yeah. So Congressman Harris is proposing this bill, or he's filed that bill this morning, to revoke their federal charter. And I want to talk about that a little bit because before the show, we were, what is a federal charter? Well, who knows? Like, does anyone know what a federal charter is? Like, what does that even do? Why do we care if it's revoked? And I think our members and our moms and the people watching might have those same types of questions. And so we looked it up. And organizations, do you remember what we looked like? Who has federal charters?
Right. So I think who did we discover? It was a lot of
Scouts of America.
Right. Yeah. A lot of supposedly apolitical organizations, the Red Cross. So organizations that help, I'm sorry, I don't mean to talk over you. Organizations that, benefit Americans, right? Regardless of political stripe. So does the NEA do that still? I mean, let's ask.
No, their charter, it was in 1906, it was established. Wow. And so by revoking the charter, it doesn't close down the NEA, unfortunately. Congressman Harris said they have a right to exist, and they do. And if they can straighten out their act, there is a role potentially, maybe I could be convinced, for teachers unions nowadays. But it basically sends, I think, a message.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's what they need to hear. I mean, I think that's what all teachers need to hear and teachers unions need to hear is they need to hear that message that we're here. Teachers should be here to be apolitical and just to stay in their lane.
Yeah. Teach the kids to read, right?
Yes.
A third of fourth graders can read on proficiently. So not good enough.
Not good enough by a long shot.
Okay. Let's talk about you a little bit. You're a mom.
Yep. 5 kids.
5.
Yes.
All yours.
All of them mine.
That's great. And
Proudly.
Are they homes, private?
We've done a mixture of everything. Yeah. So we started in public school when my son was in kindergarten. My oldest son, he's 14, almost 15. And the first year was fine. Second year, first grade, I couldn't believe it was happening. I was involved in the school quite a bit, and I remember the last time he was in school, I had gone to have lunch with him, and he was being very severely bullied by some kids in the class. And I had sent emails previously voicing my concern, and that was the last straw. And I said, he's not going back tomorrow. So we pulled him. The kids started going to a local parochial school for a few years. We had our challenges with COVID with them. And love the school, love the parish dearly, but we made the choice to homeschool for a couple years. So we did that. And then now a few of my kids are going to a classical Christian school that has received 0 federal funding, which I love. And so this is our second year going into that. And then I'll be homeschooling my oldest daughter next year. So we take it year by year. We do a little bit of everything depending on what each child needs. So
I think that's the key, that you are making choices dependent on what each child needs.
Yeah.
And every parent deserves that opportunity, and every child deserves the opportunity to
absolutely.
have what's best for them.
Right.
So it's fantastic. Your chapter is amazing. So Kit has been a chapter chair since 2021,
almost 4
right?
years. Yeah. We're coming up on 4 years, I think, next month. So,
and we've talked before about how sometimes chapter chairs turn over. I mean, burnout, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of your volunteers. It's a lot of time, a lot of commitment, a lot of emotion and energy. And so burnout is real, but somehow not only are you still in the game after 4 years, your chapter is strong and still thriving. You're still holding meetings. You're still being effective. And I think our people want to know, how, like, what are you, how are you doing that?
It's the team that I have behind me. So, we had our ups and downs. We had a couple of months into a year that it was a little shaky, a little rocky. We were trying to figure out our groove. But once we did that and we had the right people in place, we just, we're a force to be reckoned with. We have some really, really phenomenal people who, I was even thinking like down to like the Madison Minute. So for each for every meeting, obviously we have, the invocation and the Madison Minute. And
because there are people watching right now that have no idea what a Madison Minute is.
Sure.
It is a thing Moms for Liberty has made up. And so I want to explain what that is.
Sure. So to start every meeting, we begin with an invocation and then, and of course, the Pledge of Allegiance, and then a quote from a founding father or mother that kind of sets the tone for the meeting, and an explanation behind that quote. So we found someone in our chapter who doesn't really want to be involved in leadership, but she is a historian. She loves history. So she is the person that we go to and we say, here's our meeting, please come. And she comes with a phenomenal Madison Minute every time, educates our members about, the history behind it and everything. So, it's just the little pieces like that. We found somebody who is really good with, just taking notes, and she has 4 little kids and she can't do a whole lot, she can't be at every school board meeting or, things at night. So, but she says, I'm great at taking notes, and she does a great job. Being a secretary, we have a wonderful treasurer. So we just fit the right people in place. And so with a team like that, we really work together to make waves.
So you need the right people to have a successful chapter. I think hands down, most people would agree with you with that, but you've been able to identify people's strengths and get them into that role. And I think it's a compliment to you and your leadership skills, for sure.
Thank you.
And so what makes your chapter, other than the people, there's got to be certain things or the way you look at things that make you more effective or make you effective. Thoughts on that?
Well, yeah. I think, the mission of Moms for Liberty is to unify, educate, and empower parents. And so we have unified people. We've pulled people together from all across the county. And then we really focused on educating them. One of the big things that we did was actually our vice chair was the kind of the pioneer of this project. And we called it the Book Project. And she really found some really disturbing books and decided to just educate the parents in the community about what these books entailed and what
the books were in schools. I think
books that
she
were
didn't just find them
online.
Correct.
I'm sorry. Yeah. I should have clarified there. But so we had a meeting about it, and we asked a lot of parents to just kind of participate and read through some of the books. It was, a lot of them had a hard time like reading some of these passages. But we were educating the parents. This is the material that's in our school. So we really have, I think, focused on educating parents and educating the school board about what's happening in their schools.
We don't want to get banned from YouTube or Facebook right now, but could you, in an abstract way, somehow explain, because people don't believe. There are still a good portion of America that does not believe does not understand how bad some of the things are in these books, and that some of these books are being found even in elementary school grade classes. And so what types of things are you talking about? Because, there's people have said, oh, you want to get rid of classics sometimes. Oh, you crazy people want to get rid of this penguin book. Like, what types of things was your chapter concerned about?
The only criteria that we used to identify the books that we wanted to see reconsidered was if they had graphic sexual material. So it didn't matter. A lot of people thought it was LGBT material. That's not what we were focused on. We were focused on just the sexually explicit material. So some of these were like memoirs of rape victims, which I understand a parent might want to give that to their child if they had that tragic experience, but that shouldn't be something that is available to every child with no restrictions. So these were all very graphic, sexually explicit material, things that I didn't feel comfortable reading out loud at a board meeting. And when I spoke to my board about these books, I referenced the books, but I didn't speak directly. I didn't use direct passages. And I got calls from the 3 board members that night saying, wow, that's crazy, but also thank you for not using those passages because they were just so explicit and that would have been offensive to them. So that's the kind of material that we were looking for.
And so I think you used the word reconsider.
Yep.
When you talked about the books.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't say the word, I really wanted them to ban the books.
Right.
So I think, we haven't talked about this topic yet on any of our episodes. So I think today is as good as any.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah. So what is a book ban in your mind?
Okay, so we have not banned any books.
What's a book? No, let's back up even more.
What is a book ban?
What is a book ban?
A book ban is the elimination of a book from publication, making sure that the book is not available for readers to read. We did not do that whatsoever. All we did as private citizens, as parents, we used our First Amendment right to ask the school, or actually it wasn't even the school board, ask the reconsideration committee to look and review the books that we identified. All we asked them to do was to look at them and to see if they were appropriate for the school, the school libraries.
And you do this how? It's different in districts across the country.
Yeah.
Is it a form you fill out?
It's just a form.
Okay.
And we just identify, certain things that we found objectionable about each book. And then it went onto the school reconsideration committee. The committee reviewed it and said yes or no, we think it's appropriate. And then there were other, if they voted to retain the book, then we can appeal and things like that. But yeah, all we did was just show them what was there. And we never banned any books. And people say, we obviously got a lot of flack for this. You can imagine. I mean, the opposition loves to call us book banners, but I think we have to remember that each library is very restricted. Like, every single book in the public school library has to have some, academic value. And so we're not going to be able to have 99% of the books that have academic value at all. So we have to be very, we have to identify the books that do. And so some of these books really didn't have any academic value at all. In fact, they were going to destroy some kids. Like I know that if my daughter saw some of that material, she would be very upset. So
how many books did you bring to the reconsideration committee?
Overall, it was 58.
58 books you found in your school district.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That had extreme sexual content. And so what did the review committee do from there?
There were a few books that right off the bat, they said absolutely no. A few books that they removed from elementary school but kept in middle school. And then a few books that they said we should keep them in. And then from there, we weren't going to go just let it happen without a fight. So we appealed it, and then eventually it went to the school board, and they had to decide whether or not the books.
How many books was it again?
So it was 58, and then I have to take a look, but we're still, Tina, like this was 2 years ago that we started this, and we're still in review of some of them.
My next question was, what was the outcome of the 58 books? But you don't have an outcome.
No, we don't. Not for all 58. And it was a big ordeal, but they had to. The school board decided to halt the reconsideration process, because they were used to having 1 or 2 books trickle in over the course of a couple years, and the reconsideration committee would have to look at the book and,
you have to read the book.
Right.
Discuss the book. It takes time.
Yes. But they said we can't have any more reconsideration forms for this length of time. I think it was a year, because we have just been so inundated. So you can imagine, it actually ended up making national news, because what ended up happening was the school board decided to actually instill a policy that said we will not have any more books in our school that have this sexually explicit content. So we went from trying to eliminate just, a couple dozen books to creating a policy that protected all kids and all, future books.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I know a lot of our chapters would just be thrilled to have a policy like that be put in place.
Well, we were very lucky. Our school board, we worked hard. To get people.
Let's talk about that for a second, because one of our core values at Moms for Liberty is we build relationships.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And you had said something that we kind of glossed over. When you went to the school board to tell them about this, you didn't publicly shame them. You didn't blindside them. You didn't go in and say, I'm going to read to you today what I found in the library, and embarrass them if they didn't know it was in the library. I mean, a school board member doesn't, they have to trust that the superintendent is doing their job, that the senior leadership is doing their job, all the way down to there's enough checks and balances. Yeah. And so kudos to you for building that relationship, saying, I've got this stuff. I want you guys to know about it, but I'm not going to blow it up right now in the New York Times.
Right. Yeah. We, Moms for Liberty, our chapter really tries to maintain a respectful relationship with our board. They understand that we helped 4 out of 5 of them get elected. We endorsed 4 out of 5 of them.
Oh, well, that helps.
Yeah. And we don't agree about everything. There are certain things that we've not always been on the same page about, but we've tried to maintain a respectful relationship with all of them, even the one that we did endorse. But we try to build that relationship for sure. And they understand that we are doing this with the best intentions. We're not doing it to blindside them. We're not doing it, for any political reason. So
what did you do to combat? You were saying that there was some attacks that came, and you were called all kinds of names, and memes were made, and stuff was pushed out, and the hate came.
Yeah. So, actually, during that time, there were 2 school board seats up for election, and 2 of the candidates decided to kind of, basically their entire campaign was an anti-Moms for Liberty campaign. And all the mailers they sent out, there was even like a community event where people were submitting like artwork. It was called the Peep Show. So they made things out of peeps, like the Easter peeps.
Yeah.
And these candidates decided to create their peep display, anti-Moms for Liberty, saying that we ban books. And it was like, we read banned books. And so kind of in response to that, we said, well, let's like reframe the narrative here, because we are on the right side of this and we're not banning any books. In fact, we want to, and the books that they had in their display were all things that we absolutely had nothing to do with. It was like 1984 by George Orwell, The Diary of Anne Frank, really good classics that we think every child should read. So in response to what they were doing, we said, let's have a book drive at the same place where this event was happening.
That is a classic joyful warrior move.
Thank you. So on a Saturday when most parents were bringing their kids and going to see this Peep Show, we had our booth and we had hundreds of books available, just giving away. We put our sticker, of course, in it. And then, we talked to so many parents who had heard of us, some who hadn't heard of us, and just told our side of the story. We believe that children should be educated to read what's good, right, and true. So we gave away a ton of books, and actually we're going to do something similar at an upcoming event at the Carroll County Fair. So
fantastic. What a way to drive and shape the narrative and correct misbeliefs about you, your chapter, and Moms for Liberty. So I appreciate you working to correct that narrative.
That was fun. I mean, we do have a lot of fun just getting out in the community. So
I think that might be another reason why your chapter is so successful. It does look like a lot of the things you do are fun.
Yeah.
You're having fun, even if you're working. And so I think that's an important element to a successful, any grassroots organization. It's hard work.
It is hard work, but then it's, like you said, I mean, it's fun because you're with people that share the same mindset. And for a long time, so many of us felt alone. And so to have people in your community that you would never probably have connected with otherwise, you end up becoming friends with them and sharing these really important events and times with them. So yeah, it ends up being a lot of fun.
Okay. I want to jump to your family life curriculum story, because it's really a remarkable win, I feel like, for your county and for others to hear about. But first, let's just talk quickly about the Joyful Warrior Award and that night, because it was so emotional. It was our first national summit. And for those watching, you can go to momsforliberty.org/summit25 right now. Tickets are on sale for our 2025 Joyful Warrior National Summit. Yeah. Orlando, Florida, this year, October 16th. It was to the 18th. We just extended it to the 19th because there's so much demand for speakers and for people. They want more.
Awesome.
You cut this out. You're doing that. I'm like, no, fine. We'll add it back. So we're getting, I think we're about 90 days out, I think. And so we're getting excited. We're going to start announcing speakers probably in about a month. Yeah. You're going to be there this year?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Wouldn't miss it.
You haven't missed one, right?
No.
Didn't you come from vacation for the Philly one? Left your family in the outer
half of my family vacation.
But that night in 22, we didn't tell anybody beforehand who was getting what award. And we had videos made for each of you highlighting the work that you've done. I know it's emotional. It was a very emotional time. It was the first one. It was every time we talk about it, it was just so powerful. The people singing, the patriotism, to be together in the fight that was all so new to us, and under the attacks that we just quite weren't understanding yet. It was just a remarkable time. Yeah. And so that Saturday night, we showed that video, and there was not a dry eye in the place because we got your husband to come out on the video.
Yeah. I mean, I will say that the only reason I'm able to do this is because of him. What, Tina? Stop.
Oh, I have tissues in our podcast studio.
No, it's because he's been so supportive. He's not political. He's not very political, and really, I wasn't all that political before all of this started. But it's a lot, to have to do everything that we're doing, and I don't think he doesn't like to be uncomfortable, or he doesn't like to see me upset when things happen. And so he just is he's so supportive whenever I have any kind of meeting. He encourages me. So I'm going to leave it at that. But I'll just say, yes, seeing him on the screen, I was like, oh my gosh, why? But yeah, like I said, we have 5 young kids. The oldest is almost 15, and it can be overwhelming sometimes, but he just kind of is the calm among, a lot of storms.
You could tell in that video. I mean, he was so proud of you. He was beaming ear to ear. I'm so glad that they didn't tell you beforehand.
I was like completely shocked. I still thinking about it.
You were shaking. I remember you standing there in your yellow dress, just like you were shaking. And I think we were like, "Do you want to say a few words?" And you were like,
I was like, "No," but then I did. So. But yeah, it's because of him. And, I have a great support system. My parents are very supportive. I have an amazing sister who is like my number one cheerleader. And some great friends. So it's really
so good.
You can't do it without your support system, right?
All right. Tell everybody about this family life class in Maryland. First of all, explain what it is.
Yeah.
Because it's not something that we have nationwide. Explain how the state requires it. And then I want you to tell the story of what your county did, because I think it's remarkable. And end with the opt-out stuff. It's so great. Or the opt-in, opt-out, like that. So go.
So in Maryland, we have state standards, as I'm sure many states do, and they they created this Maryland state curriculum that includes all the gender ideology, sexual orientation, starting at the youngest ages, kindergarten, pre-K even. And it is very radical, really encouraging kids to be sexualized at a very young age. And we identify this as a major problem. And in our county, we are very lucky to have a sane board that created a family life advisory committee, just to kind of help figure out curriculum and help figure out how teachers are going to be talking about these sensitive subjects. So we understood, and by law, we have to have the state standard curriculum as the curriculum. But this Family Life Advisory Committee, which consists of several Moms for Liberty members, thank the Lord, because we have great parents who are willing to be involved in.
How do they get on the Family Life? How do they get on that committee?
So they are selected by, or invited by Board of Education members.
Okay.
And we had so the Family Life Committee drafted this alternative curriculum, which eliminated all of that stuff and just kept it to the facts. So no gender ideology, no sexual orientation,
and that still met the state standards.
Because the county was still offering the state standard option, we were able to have this alternative option.
So in your county, there's now two options.
There's two options. Yep. And the first year that they kicked this off, we only about, I think it was 16% of parents, because so let me back up. The default option is the state option. So if a parent doesn't know about it, or if they have one option, they have one opportunity to opt their child out of Family Life. It's like a work,
in the SECA registration papers.
Yes, on like one time. And so if you don't know about it, you miss it one time, you don't have the option to opt into the Family Life alternative curriculum. So not that many parents opted in the first year. The second year, we were like all hands on deck. We tried to make it as widely known as possible that, guess what, parents, your kids don't need to learn about this nonsense.
So you educated again.
We educated the parents.
I hear a common theme for you. How did you do that?
I mean, not only social media, word of mouth, but like we set up a booth at the county fair, and we showed parents who came by our booth, this is what they'll learn in the state standards. This is what they'll learn in Family Life, or in the Family Life option, or you can opt out altogether. And so we really, hit it hard. We went all in, and over 50% of parents this past year opted their children out of the.
I feel like I want to fist bump you right now. That is.
Thank you.
I mean, parents get the choice. Then that's really all we ask for. Like, give
Right.
us some options.
100%.
Don't force this stuff on our children. Don't force us to have to force this stuff on our children. Give us options.
Mhm.
And then we as an organization can educate
Yeah.
and empower parents to utilize those levers to protect their children. And
Right.
you have done that very successfully.
Oh,
with that.
well, thank you. And I mean, it was, don't give me the credit. This was like the Family Life Advisory Committee, especially, we call her our liaison because she's on our leadership team, and she kind of gives us all the information that's going. So it was her. And then not only that, but the state was so mad at us the state was so mad at Carroll County for having this option available to parents that they tried to enact one of the very, very liberal representatives tried to pass a law that would not allow parental rights. So luckily that was shifted off to another year, but yeah, she was and she even said during her testimony, Carroll County needs to, I can't remember her exact words, but something like,
get in line.
Carroll County, it's the fault of Carroll County because they're not requiring all their kids to learn about this stuff. So it's not only affecting, it's affecting our whole state. So yeah, so it's crazy. But yeah, that was great because parents do feel, and even just this past weekend, I was talking to a mom who has younger kids, and she was like, I just want to let you know, I was so excited to enroll my daughter and to opt my child out of out of the
feel empowered.
Yeah,
I know what's going on. Once you have the information, most parents are going to choose the better part for their child.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so Moms for Liberty plays a huge role in
Mhm.
educating parents through M4LU, through our tools and resources. We have just come up with an opt-out template letter, an opt-out
Awesome.
speech, all driven from the latest Supreme Court case, the Mahmoud versus Taylor, also out of Maryland,
So
Montgomery
great.
County, Maryland.
Yes. Yeah.
And we can help parents navigate through that. If they want to go to our website, momsforliberty.org, we can help direct you to that. There's one last thing I want to cover. Well, first I want to just talk about attacks and how you deal with those, because you know, getting the Joyful Warrior Award, Grace Under Pressure, certainly you've been attacked like everyone else, if not more. And then how you deal with that. And then I want to close out talking about your flag policy, which when we talked about it earlier, you're like, oh, everybody already knows about that. And I'm here to tell you they don't. And there's schools and classrooms all across the country with radical flags hanging in the classrooms. Parents don't know what to do about it. And so I just want to talk about that and how you guys handled that, because you also had a very good win in your county with that one. So first, the attacks.
Yeah, just like any chapter leader knows this, we get protests, we get all kinds of nasty mail, email, online attacks, which I was totally not used to until 2020. But you know, so for example, like we had this gender ideology summit. We call it our gender ideology summit. This was back in 2022. And it was the first time a lot of people in the area had heard about gender ideology and heard that, you know, that kids were being encouraged to transition and, you know, find all kinds of things on the internet. And then they were being, you know, affirmed in schools and all of this. This was very brand new. And so we decided to have a panel of experts come and educate parents on what was happening. Well, prior to the event, all the online haters were just up in arms, and they called for the pastor of the church where we were having the event to lose his license and to have the church shut down. And he very boldly stood up and made a statement and said, I will not back down. We support Moms for Liberty. We support what they're doing. They are completely fine to have this event. And so that was like, to me, such a great example of saying, you know, we're not going to listen to these people who are trying to intimidate and trying to silence us. We're going to just move on with what we know is right and keep going. So
courage.
Yeah.
So
courage,
Mr. Pastor, I don't know your name or where you are out there, but thank you for standing with courage. There's so many weak pastors right now. So I hope you gave him lots of praise and accolades for his courage.
We do.
Okay. So any other... I might be asking about one in particular that I happen to know about.
Yeah, we have certain people that come, and there's a couple people in particular who have figured out, like, I'll have a speaking event at something that's not Moms for Liberty, and this one person will come and try to intimidate and bring signs, and you know, and go online and post videos about me, and you know, put my face over, like,
stalker.
Super. And so, she's pretty much a stalker. Yeah. She has served me with papers. She's just a crazy person. And it's to the point where you feel bad for her. You know, she doesn't have a family. She just is your typical, like, sad, lonely person. And so at the end of the day, like, most of the people that have come out and been very vitriolic and very hateful, you end up just feeling kind of sorry for, you know?
Again, I guess that's why you're the joyful warrior, because other people would get, you know, frustrated, angry. All of those things.
I get angry and frustrated, but yeah.
Okay, let's close out with one more big win for Carroll County, Maryland, for your chapter, and this is the flag policy.
Yeah, early on, when we first kind of launched our chapter, there was a citizen who came and to every school and brought pride flags for each of the teachers to put up in their classrooms. And
that costs a lot of money.
Right. Well, not only, and we felt like we felt honestly sorry for the teachers because they were put in this place where they felt like they had to put up this pride flag.
You don't want to be the one teacher
Right.
in the school or in the hallway or
Right.
Teachers.
It was a bullying tactic. It was a bullying tactic to kind of identify the teachers who might not agree with that ideology. And this was early on. This was way before, I think we've had some big wins that have helped people kind of overcome that. But we were like, let's help our teachers. Like this is our teachers should never feel intimidated to put something up that they don't believe in. So we really fought back against that. And those were some of those meetings that the whole boardroom was just like packed with parents. It was like, wall to wall,
because they wanted pride flags in every classroom in your school district.
They wanted the teachers to have pride flags in every classroom. Yes. Our opposition, I should say. So yeah, we showed up in big numbers and said, no, teachers are a place for learning. They are not schools. Yes. Schools. I'm sorry. Schools. Schools are a place for learning. Teachers are not people that we want telling our kids what to believe. And so this should be a politically neutral place. And the American flag.
You say what? A school should be a political, you say it like it's so passive, but schools should be a politically neutral place.
Yes. Yes. I mean, there's no room in our schools when, like you said, only a third of kids in America can read. So basically, yeah, we filled the room with parents who were behind us, and we put pressure on the board to create a policy that restricted flags to the American flag, the state flag, and the county flag, because those are the flags that represent all of us. It's common sense.
So did the policy ban?
Yeah, I mean
other flags. How does it?
So yeah, I mean schools can't have, or classrooms can't have the pride flag. They can't have really any flag. I mean, they can have like sports flags during certain seasons and things like that. So it's not like, you're not allowed to have anything other than American flag, but it lays out
political flags.
Right. Political flags. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's great. It's a great win.
Yeah.
So there's a policy out there. You can reach out to Kit.
Yeah. I would start with saying, really, schools should all school boards should have a politically neutral policy. And we have one. It was passed several years ago. And so we based our argument on that, saying, having a pride flag is not politically neutral.
So they were violating their own policy by
Correct.
allowing those flags.
Yes.
Smart, very smart approach to take. But you got them to put an additional policy in place, making sure flags were also politically neutral.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. That's
and
great.
So the people, like I mentioned that there was a school board race a couple of years ago, and the opposition were the first people to say, we'll start by revoking the flag policy and revoking the book policy because we're anti-Moms for Liberty. So.
But you won those seats with your candidates.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We did.
So
Mm-hmm.
good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I mean, by all accounts, your chapter is a success.
Thank you.
And you're a successful leader. Any advice for other chapter chairs out there? You've seen the struggles, you know what they go through. Any good word of advice for them?
I would just say, you're doing this for your kids. So my favorite quote I've ever read, and we have it like right in our mudroom when you first walk into our house, is by Mother Teresa. And she says, if you want to change the world, go home and love your family. And so I think if you really love your family, you'll be able to stand up against all of the nonsense that's being pushed at them and just focus on those beautiful children that you have or the grandchildren that you have, and understand that, those kids are worth whatever is thrown at you. So just keep on going. It's not only it's your duty as a parent to fight for them.
I love that. And any advice on how to be and maintain being a joyful warrior?
Look at the blessings around you. Look at the people who have chosen to fight with you. Look at what you've created, Tina. I mean, I'm able to do what I'm doing because you guys started this, structure and started this foundation, how to do it. You built it and we came. And so because nobody can say they're alone anymore, right? Like we all were on our own little islands a long time ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, and nobody can say that anymore, So because of Moms for Liberty, you're never going to be alone in this fight. So
yeah, we're your people.
Yeah.
we have on our website from Find Your People from
Right.
day one.
Right.
Okay, well, we're going to wrap this up. This was a great episode of the Fire of Liberty show. I'm Tina Deskovich, CEO, co-founder of Moms for Liberty. We come to you every Wednesday live on social media. We hope you'll follow us on Apple or Spotify. We hope you'll hit like. We hope you'll follow. Give us 5 stars and review. And we'll see you next week at 10 a.m. Wednesday next week for the Fire of Liberty show. Thank you.